Good morning, students. Today we are going to see about the chapter 16 electronic payment system. So in this chapter we are going to see about what is electronic payment systems and what are the types of electronic payment methods and what is mean by card based payment system, electronic account transfer, then electronic cash payment system and mobile payment and internet payment systems. So first we can see about what is meant by the electronic payment system. So people will buy or sell goods and services for money, right? Yes, so money becomes the major medium for exchanging, that for buying and goods money becomes the major important thing, and the medium for used for transferring money is, we can use two mode. First one is the cash mode and next one is the cryptocurrency mode. So for purchasing any goods or services, we need to give some money. It may be in the form of cash or it may be in the form of cryptocurrency. So next we can see what is the some of the introductions to electronic payment systems. As the volume and variety of transaction expands, the volume of money also expand. So, using cash for such a large transaction is not practically possible. Because of the security and transportation problems, we move to the electronic payment system. So, bank would support in such cases by offering other payment methods. So, that method is called the cashless payment method. So the definition of electronic payment system is, the electronic payment system is a financial arrangement that consists of an intermediator to facilitate or transfer of money between the payer and the receiver. So this was a financial arrangement between the payer and the receiver. So the term electronic payment refers to a payment made from one bank account to another bank account using electronic method is called as the electronic payment method. So there are many types of payment methods out there. They are like Paytm, UPI, Bitcoin and various mobile payment options are there. So all over the world we have more than 750 payment systems. Okay, so this is about the electronic payment system. Then the some of the examples of the electronic payment systems are there, that is mobile phone, then e-commerce. So all these are the examples of electronic payment system. So the classification of electronic payment system. So we can classify it into two types. They are the micro electronic payment system and macro electronic payment system. So the first one is about the micro electronic payment system. So the micro electronic payment system means it is an online payment system that designed to allow the efficient and frequent payments of small amounts. So we are using this micro electronic payment system for the small payment types. And in order to keep transaction cost very low, the communication and computation cost are also minimized in these micro electronic payment systems. So the micro electronic payment systems are relaxed by using lightweight cryptographic primitives and offline payment verification. So the examples of the micro electronic payment systems are like subscriptions of online games, read journals, then listen to a song or watching a movie on the online. We are paying some small amount, right? So all this comes under the micro electronic payment system. Next one is about the macro electronic payment system. So the macro electronic payment system means the payment for the higher value is called the macro electronic payment system. Here the security are more rigorous because of the huge money transaction. So here security is very important in macro electronic payment system, because we are here the transactions was not the small amount, it was the huge amount. So the some of the macro online payment systems are card-based payment systems, electronic account transfer, electronic cash payment systems, and mobile payment systems and internet payment systems. First one is about the card based payment system. So card based means it's like a plastic card which will used for the cashless payments. So these are the simple plastic card that authenticates the card holder on behalf of card that was issued by some companies or bank, and we can use this card for purchasing or online shoppings. So based on the transaction settlement, there we can classify it into three types. They are credit card based payment system, debit card based payment system, and stored value card based payment system. So credit card means we can pay later, and debit card means we can pay now, and stored value card means we can pay before. So first one is about the credit card. So you all may seen this credit card, right? So this credit card means we can use this credit card in any shopping or for any purchasing, and we can pay the amount later. So every card has some limitation. That means that card was issued by some banks or any companies, and each card has some limitations of amount. So within that amount we can purchase or we can shop any goods, and later we can pay the amount. So a credit card is different from the debit card, where the credit card issuer lends money to customer instead of deducting it from the customer's bank account consistently. So the advantages of credit cards are most credit cards are accepted worldwide. So most of the cards are accepted by the worldwide, and it is not necessary to pay physical money at the time of purchase. We no need to pay the cash. Cash, if we have the credit card, we no need to pay the cash. So depending on the card, there is no need to pay the annuity. According to the card, we no need to pay the annuity. Then also it allow purchase over the internet in installment. So we can pay the amount in installment also. So some issuers allow round up the purchase price and also pay the differences in cash to make the transaction easy. So some company will provide some offers for some cards. So these are some of the advantages of the credit card. So key players of credit card transactions are first the card holder. The card holder pay the merchant for purchase with the card code. Then the merchant send the credit card details to the acquirer. Then to the acquirer, from the acquirer forwards the credit card details to the credit card network. That may be the RuPay or Visa or the Chase. Then from the credit card network, the credit card network requests the payment authorizations from the bank, the whom issues the card. So some key players of credit card transactions are, first one is the bearer, next is the merchant, then acquirer, then credit card network, and the issuer. Next is the debit card. So debit card is an electronic payment card where the transaction amount is deducted directly from the cardholder's bank account upon authorizations. So like debit card functions like ATM cards and as the substitute for cash. So the way of using debit cards and credit cards is generally the same. So debit card means the amount will be debited from our account, from our savings the amounts will be debited. So the way of using both the credit card and the debit card is same. Okay, so for processing the debit card transactions we have EFT post, that is also known as online debit or PIN debit. Next is the offline debit, that is also known as the signature debit, and third one is the electronic pursuit card system. So next one is about the stored value cards. So this card, it tells about the pay before. Already this card will be loaded with some amount, and later we can use this card for purchasing the things. So it is the card that has default monetary value onto it. The card may be disposed when the value is used. So after the value is used, we can dispose the card. Like some stores, they will give the Reliance card, the coupon card, no. So we can use that coupon for the later purchase. They will provide some cards for the certain amounts like coupon. So we can use that card then later we have to dispose after using the value, or after using that card we can dispose that. So the major advantage of stored card is that customers don't need to have a bank account to get prepaid cards. So for this we don't need to have the bank account for having the stored value cards. So we have two types of stored value card. The first one is the closed loop card, that is for single purpose, and the open loop card, that is for the multi-purpose. So closed loop card means in closed loop cards, so the money is metaphorically stored on the card in the form of binary coded data. So the money is stored in the form of binary coded data. That is the closed loop cards. So the closed loop cards are issued by some specific merchants or some specific group to make purchase or make use of that cards, like Chennai Metro Rail travel card. So we can use that card while we can recharge the card for only once. Later we can use that card for traveling purpose, right? So that is the closed loop stored value card. Next is the open loop card, that is for we can use this for multi-purpose. Open loop card can be used to make debit transaction at variety of retailers. It is also called the prepaid debit cards. That example, Visa gift cards. So I said no that some shops will provide some gift cards for the limitation period of time. So before that period we can use that card to get the to purchase of that money value. Apart from the electronic payment systems, there are many other electronic payment systems where emerge. So the first one is the electronic clearing service, then electronic funds transfer, and next one is the real-time gross settlement system. So these are the other electronic payment systems. So the first one is the electronic clearing service. So electronic clearing service can be defined as repeated transfer of fund from one bank account to the many bank accounts or vice versa. It may be done using the computer or the internet technology. So here the payer will instruct the bank to debit from his bank account, and it will be credited to some other one or more paying bank, and the amount will be provided, and that amount will be provided, and date of the payment will be provided earlier. So this system provides the convenience of the paperless payment. Next is the advantages of these systems are we can use this for the bulk payment systems, then guaranteed payments, and we no need to remember the payment dates for these electronic clearing services. And it can be used by institutions for making payments such as disbursing of salary, then pensions, or dividend interest among the shareholders. So all this purpose we can use this electronic clearing services. So ECS can be used both for the credit and debit purpose. So first one is about the credit purpose. So ECS credit is used for making of bulk payments. We can use this ECS credit. So in this mode, a single account is debited and multiple accounts are credited. We can debit single account and we can credit the multiple amount of accounts. So these types of transactions are called the push transactions. For example, we can say if a company has to pay salary to its 100 employees, it can use the ECS credit system than crediting every employee. So it will we no need to credit for this, like separately we no need to credit it. We can use this ECS credit method, so that at the same time it can be credited to the 100 employees. The next one is the ECS debit system. So ECS debit is an inverse of ECS credit. It is used for bulk collection of amount BRE. That is for the ECS credit method is used for making bulk payment, and ECS debit method is for making collection of a huge amount of collection of amount. We are using this ECS debit method. So in this mode, multiple accounts are debited and then a single account is credited. So this type of transactions are called pull transactions, and easiest transactions are called the pull push transactions, and easiest debit are called the pull transactions. So for example, we can say the insurance premium of bulk number of customer is debited from the customer's bank account on their period content, and that is paid to the insurance company. So next one is about the electronic fund transfer. So electronic fund transfer, that is EFT, is the electronic transfer of money over an online network. So the amount sent from the sender's bank branch is credited to the receiver bank branch on the same day in batches wise. So unlike the traditional process, EFT will save the effort of sending a demand draft through post and the intermittent delay in reaching the money to the receiver. So this is the fund transfer from one account to the another account, to the one branch of account to the another branch of account. So it will saves the time of sending a draft and reaching the money in delay, no. So if you are sending the amount in draft, means it will take some times to reach the where we want to send. So using this fund transfer method, it will be reached at the seconds, it will reach the person. So next one is about the RTGS, that is real time gross settlement. So the real time gross settlement system is also a payment system particularly used for the settlement of transactions between the financial institutions, especially banks. So these real time gross settlement systems were especially used by the bank. As name indicates, RTGS transactions are processed at the real time. So RTGS payments are also called as push payments that are initiated. So we can call RTS payment as the push payment system. So RTS payments are generally large value payment, that is the high volume transactions can be done by this real time gross settlement. Next one is about the electronic wallets. So the electronic wallets or e-wallets or the electronic purses allow user to make electronic transactions very quickly and very securely over the internet. It may be done through the smartphones or the computers. So the electronic wallet functions almost the same as like that of the physical wallet, in turn that it holds our money. Electronic wallets, so there are several electronic wallet services that are now widely used, that is called PayPal, SBI Buddy. All these are the examples of the electronic wallet. So the electronic wallet, what it will do means, like the normal wallet or purse, it will holds our money for our later uses. Like PayPal or SBI Buddy, we can hold the money in that PayPal and all. We can hold the money for our users, right? So like that, the electronic wallets will works. Here, the mobile banking can be or operations can be implemented in the following ways. The first one is contacting the call center, then automatic IVR telephone service, then is using a mobile phone via the XMS, and also the web technology, and also using the smartphone applications. So these are the ways we can implement the mobile banking. So next one is about the internet banking. So internet banking is a collective term for e-banking, online banking and virtual banking. So here the direct banks, web banking and remote banking can be operated based on these internet bankings. So internet banking will allow the customer of a financial institution to conduct various financial transactions on a secure website. We can make any transactions, or we can for any institutions or for any customers through a very secure basis. So the main advantages of internet banking are that the payments are made at the convenience of the account holder and are secured by the username and password. So the basic advantages of internet banking are, here the account, it was very secure because every holder have to use the username and the password. That is, with internet access, it can be used from anywhere in the world and at any time. So this also same like the mobile banking. We can access this account at any time and at anywhere. Then any standard browser, example Google Chrome, is adequate. Internet banking does not need installing any additional software. So we no need to add any other software for this internet banking. Then apart from the regular transactions, internet banking portal provides complete control over all banking demands such as available balance. So these are the home page for the internet banking. So from here there are many options to whom we have to send, from which branch we have to send. All these options will be given and will be given in this home page. So from the home page we can select the options and we can transfer the account. So the following are the steps to transfer fund using the net banking. First one is we have to log in to the account using the username and password. Then the step 2 is we have to add the beneficiary as the payee to enable the transfer of fund. The following details like account number, the name, then IFSC amount, the beneficiary are to be filled in the add new pay section. So they will have a own section that is add new pay. In that section we have to fill the number, then we have to fill the name and also the IFSC code. Then the step 3 was, once the beneficiary is added, we have to choose the RTGS method or NEFT or IMPS as the mode of fund transfer. Which mode we have to transfer the fund, we have to select that. Then select the account to transfer money from, select the payee, then enter the amount to be transferred and add the remarks. So that was optional one. If you have to add means we can add, otherwise we can skip that options. Then fifth step we have to click and submit. Then in the sixth step we have to enter the OTP which will be received in our phone number, and we have to fill that in the space where we have to fill the OTP number. So the modern electronic fund transfer are secured by a personal identification number, that is PIN number, one-time password, that is OTP, etc. So next one is about the Unified Payment Interface. This Unified Payment Interface is a real-time payment system that was developed by the National Payment Corporation of India, that is to facilitate the interbank transaction. So this type of Unified Payment Interface was very simple and it was very secure, and it was the instant payment facility method. So this interface is regulated by the Reserve Bank of India, and this was used for transferring funds instantly between two bank accounts through the mobile device. So this UPI is developed on the basis of immediate payment service, that is IMPS. So this was developed on the basis of immediate payment service. To initiate a transaction, UPI application use two types of address, that one is the global and other one is the local. So global address includes the bank account number and IFSC number. Local address means it is the virtual payment address. So in mobile banking, personal identification number is required to confirm each payment in the UPI. So UPI will allow operating multiple bank accounts in a single mobile application. So it will allow the multiple bank accounts for operating it in a single mobile applications. And some UPI applications also allows customer to initiate the transaction using only the Aadhaar number in absence of PPA. So we can use this UPI only with using the Aadhaar number. So this is the UPI with we are using it in the mobile. Then we can see the advantages of UPI. So first one is the immediate money transfer through the mobile device around the clock of 24/7. So we can transfer the amount even the 24 hours for the 7 days. Anytime we can send or transfer the amount, and we can use single mobile application for accessing multiple bank account. The next advantage is single click authentications for transferring the funds. So we can use the single click authentications for transferring the amount. then it is not required to enter the details such as card number, account number, IFC, etc. for each transaction. So for each transaction, we no need to enter the details like the card number, account number, and IFC number. Then the fifth advantage is the electronic payment will become much easier without requiring a digital wallet or the credit or the debit card. So this is about the cash on delivery, and this is about this chapter electronic payment system. So thank you guys.